This I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. Giving can be done through Patreon, PayPal, or Cash App. All links are in the description. As stated over the years, if you do give, let it be in accordance with the scriptures. Love you. Let's get it. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Stand Focused for Jesus. Hope each and every one of you having a blessed day in the Lord Jesus Christ. As always, today is Friday, October 13th, 2023. Friday, October 13th, 2023. The time is currently 9:10. Abraham's black grandsons in Mystery Babylon. It's Friday the 13th. Are you afraid? Well, it's Friday the 13th for me, but it's probably the 15th or later for you. But still, are you afraid? Because I know you see the title of the video, you're like, oh man, is he gonna show us where Mystery Babylon is? I think I am. I've already been showing you, but I'm going to give you hardcore, undeniable proof. Everything is going to line up with the scriptures. We're not going to make anything up because we don't have to. Now, we've been taught that Mystery Babylon is America, and I do believe that to a certain extent. Let me explain. The spirit of Mystery Babylon, the spirit of the mother, she can move around, and she has daughters. And right now, her spirit, mainly, where she's centrally located at and focuses with her daughter, is America. Is America. Now I know some of you're ready to shut the video off, but y'all know how I do. Y'all know how I do. You might want to get your popcorn for this one, because it's going to be a good one. I'm telling you, it's going to be a good one. Now let me go ahead and explain myself. I don't personally believe in a white race. I don't see where the Bible teaches a quote unquote white race. God grouped people together according to tribes, nations, and also what we know as clans. We see predominantly the Gentile nations, the word speaks about, but we also know we have nations in the sense of nation of Israel, just depending on the context and stuff like that. What we know as the white race is a fairly new term. It's fairly new. You can go look this up. Historically, white was never used to describe a race. It was always used as a descriptive term in comparison to something else. I've told y'all this many times. Technically, everybody is black. Technically, everybody is black. If you got Adam and Eve, and then everybody, including white people, come from Adam and Eve, then that means that white people would technically be what we call black because they came from black people. Now, again, we have white in the sense of descriptive term. I know some of you don't believe. You have your other beliefs about where white people came from. I mean, that's you. But I'm not of the one to believe that. I believe that all people that we know, even including white people, came from Adam and Eve. And there's really no such thing as what we call a white race. Yes, we have a white race state that we call white race, but technically everybody is black. Everybody is black. Even white people have a level of melanin. Of course, it's a small percentage in comparison to us, but melanin isn't exclusive amongst those of us who have darker skin just in having dark skin. Most of you know that deal with the pineal gland and stuff like that, because you can have a light-skinned black person and they can have higher melanin levels on their spiritual level when you measure stuff like that. Again, I don't believe in what we call a white race. I'm not dumb. I know what we mean today when we say white race, black race, African American, Negro, American Indian. I understand all that. But historically, you can go study this out. The term white race, black race in regards to classifying people like that, it's fairly new. When I say new, I mean like, okay, historically, when they were talking about white in regards to a person, it was in comparison to somebody or the people that were dark. In comparison to the people that were darker. Are we understanding? Now, we got that out the way. We got this video here. We're not going to watch all of it. It's just a part I want you to see.
جمهوری اسلامی ایران با قدرت به حمایت‌های سیاسی بین المللی و رسانه‌ای خود.
Now, what would you call these people? What would y'all call most of these people? Most of these people you would call, oh, they're white. You would say these people are white, or some people would say they're Iranian. Oh, these people are Iranian because this is the Islamic Republic of Iran. Think about what you're saying now. It's like saying, oh, these are Americans. Americans consist of all types of people, what we call black and white. These are not white people. These are not white people. These are Arabs. Especially him and him. I mean, you can make an argument for him, but we'll just stick with him right here. Most people would consider him white. This is a black man. This is a black man. You may say, what are you talking about? This is a black man. Iran is a place. If you had Taylor Swift, who is, Taylor Swift is white, right? If she was born in Iran and lived over there, she would be considered a Iranian. She just happened to be white. And the context we were speaking about, right?
از مقاومت فلسطین ادامه خواهد داد. برخی از مقامات غربی.
Now, this is the part I want to get to right here. Let me see if I can enlarge it real fast for you. Okay, he says, some Western officials asked me if it is possible that new fronts are open against the fake regime of Israel. The fake regime of Israel. They don't support the regime of Israel as legit. They said fake. Meaning that, hey, they're saying that they are fake Jews. Everybody knows. And, oh, we shouldn't believe him because he's Iranian, so he can't possibly be speaking the truth. When Satan says skin for skin, yea, that all that a man had what he give for, to give to save his skin, did he lie about that? No, he didn't. People will give anything and everything they can to save their own flesh. They will give up their soul to save their flesh. Just because somebody is an enemy of somebody else doesn't mean that they can't speak the truth. It's on us to be led by the Spirit. So they believe that the state of Israel is fake because they know who we are as a people. And why is that? Because these are Arabs. And the Arabs know who we are, for one, because they sold us during the Arab slave trade. The number one peoples that were sold during the Arab slave trade were Hebrews. Mostly, specifically the Bantu, but there was others. And the Bantu are Hebrews. Arab slave trade came before the transatlantic slave trade. Arab slave trade is still going on. Arab slave trade lasted longer than the transatlantic slave trade. And the system of the transatlantic slave trade came from the Arab slave trade. What if I told you this is family right here? This is family. Yes, it is. So I just want to get to that part right here. This is the Iranian. This is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. This is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia right here. Notice something? You notice something about him? What does he look like? Oh, he's a Saudi Arabian. This is a black man. What we call a black man. You take him out of Saudi Arabia and you put him in America and give him a hat and whatever, let him grow his beard out a little bit more, and give him American accent, Southern accent, or whatever, or let him live in the South, what does he pass for? He passes for what? A light-skinned black person. Well, we don't say light-skinned black person. We just say, oh, they light-skinned. So-and-so, light-skinned. Stay around the way. But he's an Arab. This is family. This is family. Cousins. Uncles and stuff like that. Tell me this ain't no light-skinned black person. What we call a light-skinned person? Because this is a black man. But people will say he's not a black man, he's not a white man, he's a Saudi Arabian. Saudi Arabia is a place that's named after people. And Saudi Arabia back in the day was black. Just like Africa and most of the world. Keep him in mind. I'm gonna show you a few things. This is the king of Morocco. Oh, he's Moroccan. Morocco also will get the term Moors. Morocco, Moors. Or you can say Morocco is named after the Moors. The term Moors, black. This is a light-skinned black man. He just ain't got no beard, so he look baby-faced and everything. Light-skinned black boy. Hair texture a little bit different, but nonetheless, he light-skinned black dude. We see people like this all around us. Some of you like, oh yeah, man, he look like so-and-so. He look like my cousin. And especially him, he look like Bizzle. Let me show you Bizzle. Some of you don't know who Bizzle is, some of you do. I'm gonna show you. This is Bizzle. He's a Christian rapper. Some of you remember I made some videos about him. This is Bizzle. Black man, he's light-skinned. Let me go back over here. His nose a little bit bigger, got a little more weight in his face. Moroccan king. Bizzle. Moroccan king. Bizzle. You see the similarities. And he looked like he has more, I'm going to say Asiatic features a little bit in comparison to him. But we know who the original Asiatic people are also. These are all nations that are over there in the it was still called Middle East, that are involved in this situation that's going on right now. Who do we have here? The Iranian president. Another light-skinned black man. This man is black. He just light-skinned. You see what I'm saying? You see the similarities? Some of you got family that look like this. Go to Louisiana. Go to Louisiana. Some of you like, yep. Oh yeah. Some of you saying right now, yeah, he look like my cousin so-and-so, my uncle so-and-so. You got family members that look like this. They tell you, no, he's not white, he's Iranian, or he's white, he's not black. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You act like black don't come in different shades. Oh, he got straight hair. You never seen black people with straight hair? Like, come on, man. You can't tell me you that ignorant. You can't tell me you that ignorant. I've seen white people that are darker than, we ain't gonna use him. I've seen white people that are darker than Bizzle. But we know they're still white because it's not just exclusive to the skin. You can have a person that's the shade of Bizzle, or you can have a person that is that's comparable to what we call a white person in skin tone, but you still know which one is the black person. You see what I'm saying? Now, y'all know, just let me build my case up. Y'all know how we do now. Y'all know how we do. So we got him. Who else we got? This is the Yemenite president. Brown, black. Oh, that's a white man, man. Stop it. Look at the man's skin tone, skin color. Yeah, his facial features aren't what we call more African or Negroid, but come on, man. Why do they look like the way they look? Because they're Arabs. They mix themselves. They mixed. If you take a green cake and a yellow cake and you mix it together, then what you're going to get is going to be different if you took a green cake and a green cake. Or let's say you took a dark green cake and a light green cake and you mix it together, you're still going to get a green cake, but it's going to be a different shade of green, right? But if you take a light green cake and a light yellow cake, what are you going to get? You're going to get a different shade. If you take a light green cake and a pink cake and you mix it together, you're going to get a different shade. If you take all of them, mix them together, green, yellow, orange, brown, blue, purple, pink, red, you're going to get a different color. Come on, y'all. This is basic stuff. Who else we got? Who else we got? Right here. Who is the Hamas leader that ordered attack on Israel? Come on, man. This is a black man. What we call a black man. Brown, because nobody's black like this. I mean, you got some people that I'll take that back, because you do got some people that's black like this, but you get my point. Most people, what we call black people, aren't walking around this dark. Everybody pretty much know when we say black people, we're talking about brown colored people, people of color. Because we know that what we call black people, people of color, come in different shades. Everybody knows that. Unless you just want to play stupid. Black man, right here. Where is this at? The leader of Hamas. Are these nations? What we have here? Who is this? Who is this? Lebanon. How you want to say it? Aren't they in the news right now with everything going on? Another light-skinned black man. That's both of them side by side. You remember him? We just showed you him. Light-skinned black man. Beard on point. Look at the facial features. Light-skinned black man. Arabs. See what else? What else we got? Here go another picture of him. When his beard is black. His hair is black. Come on, man. You don't see what's going on? These are black folks. That's why they're like, hey, this false state of Israel, they really know because they were there. You can't deny that. You can't deny that these people weren't there. They got the historical records because they were not kicked out of the land. We were. And so they're saying they are not it because we know who the people are. Pretty much what they're saying is, how y'all going to tell us that these are the people when we know who the people are because we enslaved them. We had them all throughout Africa when we was ruling and speaking from their perspective. We was getting them, so we know who they are. We was coming together as a nation to get them. So again, these people have a very rich history. Nobody's going to deny that. Nobody's going to sit here and lie and say that the Arab nation don't have a very rich history. They have it recorded. Why? Because they were not kicked out of the land. They've been there. We were the ones that was kicked out of the land. They was trading us. I ain't saying that you didn't have Arabs and went into slavery and stuff like that. Everybody went into captivity. But we talking about the biblical captivity specific to us. They know who we are. That's why they like, hell no. That's why they sent Pastor Omar Tabo that letter. They have no claim, because that's what they're claiming. We trace back to the ancient Israelites. They like, no, the hell you don't. You don't belong here. And let's not get it twisted now. They are against us too. They don't want us in that land. Psalms 83. But they definitely don't want the state of Israel over there. Let me show you something you can understand a little bit easier. Obviously, this is me. I'm more dark. I'm more ruddy, right? This is Abraham when he was younger, looking all crazy. Y'all don't talk about my son. He turned out pretty good. He was rough in the beginning, but he turned out pretty good. Notice something? He's light. But would you say this is a white baby? Back in the day, they would have like, okay, he's more on the white side in comparison to me. But this is still a black baby. Still a black baby. He's light-skinned. He's about as light, a little bit darker than some of the folks we've seen. And that's a picture. What do they look like in real life? Because, you know, cameras can do different things, right? You see, the lights on them anyway, making them lighter. Different shades. It's still a black baby. Still a black baby. My wife is light-skinned. So if you have a person that's darker, I'm not, dark, I'm not chocolate. But if you have a person that's darker, and then they get with a lighter person, say my wife is right here, then you have these type of babies because they're combining of the two. It's simple, y'all. This is my mother. Younger picture of my mother. And there go me. You see that? I wasn't as dark as what I am now. I actually grew into my darkness. I was not as ruddy as what I am now. I got ruddier, as the word ruddier over time. Different shades, you see that? Another picture of me, brown skin or black child. But you see, I'm not dark, but I'm darker than the Arabs you saw. And I'm definitely darker now. I got seasoned. My grandmother and me. You see her ruddy skin complexion. Wasn't even that hairy yet. And we're gonna get to that. Then you go over here. This is my grandmother you just saw. This is my mother. You see the similarities? That's my mother when she was younger. You see the similarities? This is David. That's me as a child. And that's Abraham. Look how light Abraham is. He looked better in this picture. I told you, hey, my boy came up now. I'm talking about my son. He came up. Look how light he is. Why? Because his mother is light. Now, he may very well bronze out like his great-grandmother, like his grandma, and like me. He may very well bronze out. I don't know. Then you got my grandma, my mama in this picture. Then you got her in this picture right here. And then you got my dad. You got my dad. You see, he's dark. And then you see me right here. See, I'm light. Straight / curly hair. Then, that's my dad. I think we in Germany or somewhere. That's my brother, that's his biological father. Remember I told y'all all that? They look just alike. They're twins, literally. Look how dark he is. Look how dark he is. And then you see my wife right here. You see she's light. She's light. I know that the lighting is bad, because the picture, but y'all know what my wife looked like. She's light skinned. Then they go David, which is a combination of me and my wife. Then you have David, boom, and Abraham, boom. Pretty simple, y'all, pretty simple. Another picture of me as a baby. You see that? It just depends on the picture, depends on the lighting, because right here I look darker than in comparison to this one right here. You see what I'm saying? I look super light right here. But this picture, which is obviously a younger picture, you can see I'm darker. And then this picture, of course, it shows it. Another example. Obviously, that's me. This is David. Head full of hair. Head full of straight hair. But now his hair is curly. Head full of curly, woolly hair. It's not, as thick as mine or my wife, but it may, he's only 6. But look at that. Head full of hair. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. We're going to be talking about Esau and stuff like that. This is him when he was first born. Literally a head full of hair. Light skin. We did the leg clamping and stuff like that. And he also has some hair on his legs. He had hair on his legs and hair on his arm. We talking about like hair you can see. Are you saying that you are from the lineage of Esau, brother? Yes, I am. Oh my God, he talking about he's a Hebrew Israelite. Now he's saying that he an Edomite? Oh man. What were Esau and Jacob? What were they? They were twins. So if they were twins and I come from the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Jacob's name would change to Israel, then wouldn't I have what we call Edomite enemy? Considering that Esau and Jacob were twins? This is all three of us together. See, Abraham, David, these curls that now came in. This is when he was like, I want to say 3. Different shades of what we call black. This is a younger picture of me when I have my baby face, and an older picture of my mother. This is a younger picture of my mother. Another picture of my mother. Head full of hair. Ruddy complexion. Another younger picture of my mother. You see the hair? You see the complexion? Another one. You see the hair? You see the complexion? Another one of my mother. I'm just showing you because I want to make sure I show you all this because we got to make sure we get it right. This is me when I had hair on my head. It's me when I had hair on my head. Yeah, I know some of you think I've always been bald, but no, I did have hair on my head. This is when I was in the world. I just tell y'all, like, look, I had to have the best waves, the best haircut. That was me. You got black people with different types of hair. You seen the Arabs, they had the straight hair and everything. And me being with the lineage I'm from, hair like this, like a typical African American. And this is me and my brother. This is when we was in Germany, in front of the big body Benz. Like y'all know all that. That's how I grew up. You can see he's, darker than me. He's darker than me, but we still black. He that is wounded in the stones or hath his privy member cut off shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord. An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever. Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when ye came forth out of Egypt, and because they hied against thee Balaam the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia to curse thee. We know who the Moabites come from. From Lot. We know what happened with Lot. His daughters, they thought it was the end of the world. Nevertheless, the Lord thy God would not hearken unto Balaam, but the Lord thy God turned the curse into a blessing unto thee, because the Lord thy God loved thee. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity all the days forever. All thy days forever. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. For what? For he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their 3rd generation. But y'all say that Edomites can't be saved. Esau can't be saved, but God said they could enter in, the children that they begot, they can enter in their 3rd generation. And then it says what? The Edomite is your brother. It said don't abhor him. Now, abhorring is a higher level of hatred. And what a lot of the Hebrew brothers they put off is actually abhorring. It's a greater level than hatred. It's a greater level of hatred. If the so-called white man is the Edomite, if he is Esau, then he is your brother. I'll say it one more time. If Esau, who is Edom, is the so-called white man, meaning the white race we talk about today, then he is your brother. We talking about your twin brother. But if he was your twin brother, then wouldn't he look like you? Because they were twins. But even if they look different, you're still saying that Esau is the white man. And if Esau is the white man, then he is your brother. So make your mind up. And then you wonder why when you go on these shows and stuff like that, you look stupid, you look foolish. You really do. I stopped watching because I'm like, oh my God, like really? Esau's the white man. But then they're going to bring this scripture up and say, well, Esau is your brother. Edomites are your brother. So what you going to do with that? So how can you sit here and say you're going to abhor Edomites, but then the Lord said to not do it? Because abhorring is greater than hatred, which is what Edom, the Edomites put forth with our people. But I know some of you saying, oh man, what about you? You were just saying that you were Edomite. No, I say I got Edomite in me. If you were a Hebrew Israelite, you got Edomite in you, in the sense of they were twins. Same womb, same blood, man. Come on. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Who was in her womb? Esau and Jacob. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Esau means rough. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. His what? And after that his brother came out, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Let's go back. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. They were twins. Everybody pretty much knows this, but why do y'all get confused and say that the white man is Esau, but you don't obey the scriptures? Answer me that. Because Esau was not what we call white. And if he was what we call white back then, he would have been lighter colored. But in fact, Esau was darker colored. Esau was more dark than his brother, Jacob. Jacob would have been on the lighter side, more than Esau, because I'm going to show it to you, but what I believe was going on with Esau, for, I ain't going to say for whatever reason, because God did it, but in the context we're speaking about, for whatever reason, God decided Esau's testosterone levels were higher when he was born, which caused him to be more hairy. Did y'all ever notice something about me? Some of you already know. I'm hairy. Because that's more evidence of what lineage I come from. Not only because I'm black, not only because all the other evidence I showed you, but the hair is a factor too. Because hair deals with higher levels of testosterone. Esau was hairy. Now, I didn't come out like that, being hairy all over, like Esau did, but I am hairy today, which is more evidence to support that this is a lineage that I came from. Now, you can make the argument and say, okay, if that's the case, then you are Edomite. Well, prove it. Prove it. You gotta prove that then. I take that. Because, I'm fair in my judgment. I'm fair in my judgment. A person could make that argument. But in actuality, if Jacob and Esau were twins, it was the same blood coming from the father and the mother. If it was the same blood, then what was it? It was the same DNA. So that would mean that there were factors, DNA markers of Jacob that were also in Esau. Because they were twins. They looked alike. One was just hairier than the other. Doesn't mean that Jacob wasn't hairy. It means that Esau was extremely hairy when he first came out.
The second book of Kings, chapter 1. Then Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab. And Ahaziah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber that was in Samaria, and was sick. And he sent messengers, and said unto them, Go, inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this disease. But the angel of the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto them, Is it not because there is not a God in Israel that ye go to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Now therefore thus saith the Lord, thou shalt not come down from that bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. And Elijah departed. And when the messengers turned back unto him, he said unto them, Why are ye now turned back? And they said unto him, There came a man up to meet us, and said unto us, Go, turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Is it not because there is not a God in Israel that thou sendest to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore thou shalt not come down from that bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. And he said unto them, What manner of man was he which came up to meet you, and told you these words? And they answered him, He was an hairy man, he was an hairy man, he was an hairy man, and girt with a girdle of leather about his loins. And he said, It is Elijah the Tishbite. It is Elijah the Tishbite. It is Elijah the Tishbite.
As I explained in other sermons, Esau came out looking more grown. You know, babies, sometimes they come out looking rough. They come out looking, beautiful. And sometimes they come out looking like Esau. Esau came out looking like he was ready for the world. But Esau wasn't ugly when he came out. As some of y'all seen the videos, like, come on, man. Come on, man. That's not what the word is telling you. This is the word for twin. H8382. Coupled, together, bear twin, coupled. Then you go down, it says twinned, duplicate. It gives you some examples. To be twin, double. To bear twins. Oh, that's my double right there. They were literally twins. They looked alike. One wasn't what we call black and the other one was white. That's not what the scriptures are telling you. You're making stuff up. If you're making stuff up, then you're going against the word of God. And there are consequences to that. So if Jacob came out looking like a nice looking baby, then that means that Esau came out looking like a pretty good looking baby. Not this crazy stuff y'all be talking about. It would have told you if something was up with them or gave you an indication. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So we go look at some of these words. Red, H132, and it tells us, some of you know this, but we got to see it anyway. Ruddy. It was all over his body. Red, ruddy of Esau as infant. Reddish of the hair or the complexion. Red-haired. Use of Esau, also of David. And the root of it is where we get the word Adam. Yes, Adam, that Adam. Adam literally means ruddy. Ruddy of the Nazarites. To cause to show red, meaning it deals with being healthy, but also causing the skin to glow. To show blood in the face, flush, or turn rosy. People really think this means that it's talking about white people. Like, white people don't walk around when they blush with their skin looking like that. Like, come on, man. That's what you call pseudoscience. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? This is a white man, Esau, the blood showed through. Like, for real? And then if the case, guess what? That's still your brother, dummy. Unless you gonna lie and say it ain't. So which one is it? To be red, ruddy. To be fair, handsome. It says what? Their princes were whiter than milk. Oh, so you're saying white. They were white. Their body was more ruddy than coral. So what, they were white and black? Context is everything, man. Though I told you, white back in the day did not mean what you think it meant. Because people can show you where way back then, black people were referred to as white. Some of you don't even know that, do you? Some of you do. Like, yeah, I knew that. Black people being referred to as white. Then it tells you right here, whiteness and ruddiness belong to the description of youthful beauty. So Jacob When he came out, he was fair, he was handsome, he was beautiful. Esau was also fair, handsome, and a beautiful black baby, what we call a black baby, but he was more hairy. Why do I keep on saying he was more hairy? Because Jacob had hair on him too. How do we know that? All we gotta do is study. If I've had 3 children, so, I know a little bit, but I also study too. Again, whiteness and ruddiness belong to the description of youthful beauty. Hence, it is a mistake to apply the word in this place as meaning clear whiteness. What people try to say, oh, it's talking about whiteness in the sense of white skin or something like this. No, it's not. It's in reference to the context what it's telling you. Because what are they, white and brown? Then they will still be brown, right? If you take a white woman, a modern day white woman, we call white today, and a black man, and they have a baby, what is that baby? That baby is still considered black. That baby is still considered brown. It's not considered white. Then we go look at Esau. It tells you Esau literally means hairy because he was extremely hairy. He had hair all over as a newborn baby. But it was, you could see it. And again, one of the reasons for that is because Esau had higher levels of testosterone for whatever reason. His levels of testosterone, he was formed and created. I know the reason because of Esau's nature. That's the reason God did it, just to go ahead and let you know. I'm getting ahead of myself. But God allowed that for there to be a distinction because they were twins. Think about that. There had to be a distinction between the two with them being twins. And me personally, I believe that they were identical twins. That's just what I believe. I could be wrong about that. Either way, they were twins and they were both what we call black, not one black and one white. I personally believe that they were identical twins. And God uses as an indicator, kind of almost like a mark, when he came out so that they could be distinguished between the two of them. Because remember when they went to with their father and Jacob deceived his father. How did he deceive his father? He put on the garment. He put on the garment. It was that was mostly able to tell them apart. Eldest son of Isaac and Rebekah and twin brother of Jacob sold the birthright for food when he was hungry, and the divine blessing went to Jacob, progenitor of the what? Of the Arab peoples. You talking about the same ones we seen? And they just kept on mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing, which is why you get the different shades and different looks and stuff like that. But those are black people. Those are black people that you just saw earlier. You go down here, it says sense of handling, which is rough. He was more rough than his brother because of the hair. Hairy, rough. Esau's family. That's why they're against us so much. Same blood, Esau, Jacob, same womb, same blood. 2 different manners, 2 different nations of people. And we see that today. They stayed over there predominantly, and we got scattered. Some of you listen to the video right now looking at yourself like, dang, I am hairy too. That brother making some sense. You don't think those genetics pass to you? It just depends on through the line who got together for those genes to be dominant. It's still in you. Even if you're not that hairy, it's still in you. Because you have dominant and recessive genes. And what's interesting, when you click on the root of it, of his name, it says Esau. Let's see how it's pronounced.
Strong's H6213. Asa.
Asa, which is Esau. We say Esau today, same name. What's interesting when you look at the understanding of it, the etymology, it says to work about anything, followed by that's scripture. To work upon anything, to make, to produce by labor, to make, to produce by labor. I see that. I see some wisdom in that in different ways. One is what Isaac and his wife were doing, Rebekah. What we know as sex. How the child was conceived. how the child was conceived, not meaning that the child was conceived out of wedlock, but Isaac could have had some liquor in his system. He could have been going in. He could have, he could have been tearing it out the frame. So I'm going to give you all of this. And then you got one where he comes out first because that's how he was conceived. And then the other one is more laid back. Jacob was laid back. He was watching, Jacob means supplanter. That's grown folks talk right there. If you ever slept with a woman or you slept with your wife or whatnot, you had a child or you have multiple children, then not every child is conceived the same. The other thing is this. It says to produce by labor. When you work, when a man is working, he putting in labor. What happens? His testosterone levels rise higher. And Esau is a manifestation of it because Esau, he was in the field, he was working, right? That was just his character. And what ties in with hairiness? Hair ties in with testosterone. Hair ties in with testosterone. Hair is a secondary sexual characteristic. So it's all connected together in regards to who God made Esau to be. Just like who he made Jacob to be, who he made me to be, and who he made you to be. Like I told you, we're going to break it down. We're gonna break it down. We're going to make it plain. Because when we get to the deeper stuff, it's like, oh yeah. You're going to be like, everything that you've been learning, everything you learn on your own, everything you learn from this ministry, it's all going to come together. And it's also going to expose some people and how they lied to you, if you haven't seen it already. And just so you can see it, it says hair, what? To stand out, to breast or rise to a point. Esau stood out from his brother because he was more hairy than his brother all over. Not just a normal hair you have on a baby and everything, but he had it all over. The human body is a complex mechanism of hormones. Contrary to popular belief, we all have some level of testosterone. Men and women have testosterone and estrogen. Men have higher levels of testosterone and lower estrogen, and women have higher estrogen and lower testosterone. With the food and everything that's going on, women are now having higher levels of testosterone, which is why they're acting like men, because testosterone and estrogen, they're chemicals. And you're dealing with chemicals, you're dealing with something with the spirit. And then the men are having higher levels of estrogen and lower levels of testosterone, which is causing them to act more effeminate. One of the causes of a man's estrogen levels to rise is the GMO soybean. The GMO soybean that they're putting in, I shouldn't say they're putting in, but they're frying these foods in. Fried chicken this and fried chicken that. It causes the estrogen levels to rise, causing men to be more effeminate. These people is not dumb, but it seems like that we are. This hormone is associated with libido, you know what that is, sexual parts, and bone mass, with excess amounts contributing to skin conditions like stubborn cystic acne, unusual mood swings, and what? Excess hair growth. Testosterone. Like I told you, I have no reason to make nothing up. I'm going to tell you the stuff they don't want you to know. I'm going to make the connections that they ain't made. That's what makes me unique. I know I got high levels of testosterone. High levels of testosterone can cause hair growth, but it also can cause hair loss. And we know that genetics plays a part into it also. Testosterone and male sex hormone present in males and females. Testosterone is a male sex hormone present in males and females. It serves a number of purposes, like the development of certain secondary sexual characteristics in men. Very low or high levels of this hormone is known to result in hair loss. If it's too low, you can get hair loss. Different type of what they call male pattern baldness, yeah. Or too high, it can cause it. I know. I got bald spot right here I'm touching. And my hair still grows. It's just like, drop the top, man. You got the beard. Drop the top. Y'all seen I had the waves. I ain't worried about it. I get it back. It's going to be better than what it was. This is an article from the New York Times about babies. That soft peach fuzz covering your new baby's back, shoulders, arms, and feet may be shocking. What? Hair all over the baby? But it's also normal. Officially known as lineage, it is the first hair made by the body, and it plays a vital role in protecting the baby's skin and regulating the baby's temperature in the womb. Lanugo will most likely fall out within a week or two after birth, but it could last longer and still be completely normal, especially if your baby was born premature. Is it possible that they were born premature? Because a lot of twins, they end up being born premature. I'm not saying that's the case with Esau and Jacob, but it's a possibility that they were born premature, especially with them fighting in the womb. Babies naturally have hair on them. It wasn't that Jacob didn't have hair on him. It was that Esau had more hair on him and was more pronounced. You could see it like, whoa, he got hair like me. What's going on? Whoa, he's a little bit different. Why? Because of the higher testosterone levels that God made sure that Esau had to distinguish him from his brother because they were twins. This is true science, not science so falsely called. This is how you rightly divide the word of truth and allow yourself to be led by the Spirit. And then you won't believe in no bull jive false doctrine out there, doctrines of devils, and then they go on these shows and embarrass themselves. They can't call me on the show and embarrass me with this, because they're going to be like, dang, okay. Then they're going to do their own research and be like, dang. That's how you kill the game right there. You kill the game with truth. You see, this is a real science. A typical single pregnancy lasts about 40 weeks. Everybody pretty much knows that. But a twin pregnancy often lasts between 35 to 37 weeks, meaning they come out before their turn. Premature. Again, I'm not saying that they came out premature because I don't know, but it's a possibility. More than half of all twins are born prematurely, before 37 weeks. Do premature babies have more body hair? About 30% of all full-term babies are born with some lanugo, or however you pronounce it. If your baby is born premature before 37 weeks, they have a greater chance of having lanugo. Then it tells it may take some time to fall off, but it's going to fall off. And we know that's that peach fuzz. But we know that Esau, his wasn't like that. His was like regular hair, rough. Do babies lose their hair? The short answer is yes, they usually do. During pregnancy, some of the hormones, what's a hormone? Like testosterone, estrogen, will cross the placenta and circulate through your baby's body. Shortly after birth, these hormone levels start dropping. If your baby was born with lush hair, you'll notice they'll start losing it. The same happens to new mothers when their lush locks slowly disappear after birth. Then later you may see a lot of hair falling at once. This is due to telogen effluvium, the process by which hair is lost 3 to 4 months after a stressful event. Don't panic when you find your scattered baby hairs on their mattress or car seat. Newborn hair starts falling out during the second month, continuing until the baby reaches 6 months of age or so. If your baby spends most of their time on their back, you may notice a large bald patch on the back of their head. Once the new hair comes in, you may notice it's a different shade than the original color, most often lighter. Texture will likely be different as well, since newborn babies' hair is usually very fine and fragile. Did you not see my son's hair? Yes, straight hair. As exciting as you are about their new locks, refrain from styling your baby's hair or using any elastics until they're a bit older. Born with little hair? So your baby had less hair than your friend's baby or no hair at all. Every baby is different, and cuteness knows no hair boundaries. Enjoy your little one's first months of life, hair or no hair. So somebody asked the question, what's considered normal when it comes to baby hair? There's a huge range of normal when it comes to baby hair. Some babies are born with a full head of hair and then lose much of it in the first 6 months, though some never do. My son, he didn't lose his. He came out with it and he still got it. Got way more than he really need. Some babies are born bald and their hair comes in later, and many babies fall somewhere in between. It's also normal to lose more hair on the back of the head and to keep this bald spot longer. Then we jump over here and grab this. Genetics play a role in how much hair babies have at birth. There are other factors that may influence hair growth as well. Newborns with darker complexions often have more hair than babies with lighter skin, suggesting that genetics probably also plays a role. We know it's not probably, it does play a role. Is it possible that one of Esau's parents were hairy? Could it have been Rebecca? Or could it have been his father? Who knows? But we know that genetics plays a part in it. It came from somewhere. So it had to come from them. One of them. You see what I'm saying? One more time. Newborns with darker complexions often have more hair than babies with lighter skin. So it's not hard to believe that Esau was what we call black, and he came out hairier than normal. Now we jump over and we look at this word ruddy. It tells you reddish, of red color, of the complexion, rosy, healthily red. It's the root of it. Right there, we're going to look at that. Red, ruddy. Let's look at some of the words that it makes up. See, red skin. Rue. You know you're making a rue. Ruby. Rufus, russet, red. Let's look at roux. Let's make a roux. In cookery, a sauce made from what? Browned butter or fattened flour used to thicken soups and gravies. Brown, roux, it literally means brown. So ruddy means brown. But we call ourselves black people, right? That just caused confusion. It tells you what? Red, ruddy. Let's look at, let's do Rufus. It literally means what? Red haired. So brown haired. And what you see? Tawny. We've seen that before, haven't we? So red hair is brown hair. It's more brown than black. Let's look at russet. Coarse. Interesting. Reddish brown color. A reddish what? Brown color. Oh, rosy. That's talking about the blood showing through the cheeks. Really? Rust also makes up the word, or comes from the word ruddy. Red oxide of iron. Red coating which forms on the surface of iron exposed in the air. You know what rust looks like, man? Don't play crazy. It literally comes from what? It literally means what? The same word, brownish. Brownish. Red, ruddy. Then if you go look at the word brown, it tells you what? Dark, dusky. But it gets deeper than that. It comes from the root right here, which means what? Bright. Brightness, shining, which you get the point. The glowing skin. Bright, brown, brunette, because you've been taught a brunette is pretty much a white woman with brown hair. Of a woman dark in complexion, having a brownish tone to the skin and hair. A brunette is another term for a dark-skinned woman, what we call a black woman. Some of you have seen this video, but they want you to believe that this is Esau. They want you to believe this is how Esau came out. When he first came out. I ain't saying that Esau was that ugly, because obviously he wasn't, 'cause the word tells you. But you see how this baby is hairy? Now, was he that hairy? It's a possibility. it is a possibility. If a child came out like this, you'd be like, okay, that's different. He's different. Now, did Esau look like this, hair all over his face, covered up? No. What I believe, because of the higher testosterone levels, he may have suffered from what we call today congenital generalized hypertrichosis. You see, this is a baby, got a head full of hair, all that hair, and look, like a hairy garment all over. Now, my son, he wasn't hair like this. He had like hair on his arms. It wasn't this thick, but he had hair on his arms. I think he had some on his leg right here, if I remember. But it wasn't nowhere near like this. He didn't have no hair on his back. It was just like, it was light hair on his arms, but it was noticeable. But you see, it's not nothing we're making up. The Bible's telling you. If there was evidence back then for it happening, then of course there's evidence for it today, and here we have it. Here we have it. This is not a white baby either. You can tell this is what we call a baby of color. And here's another example. You see all that hair? Some of you came out like this. Some of you came out like, you like, dang, my child was like that. You didn't know that. Does it mean that your child is a Edomite? No, man. That's something you do your own research in. But it means that it's a possibility that if you know who you are, you came from that lineage. And it would make sense considering they were twins. They were twins. And if it comes through the genetics, which it does, then it means it came somewhere from the parents. From Isaac or his wife, Rebecca. And y'all know about this website, National Library of Medicine, who got peer-reviewed stuff. It says hypertrichosis is defined as in what? Excessive growth in body hair beyond the normal variation compared with individuals of the same age, race, and sex, and affecting areas not predominantly androgen dependent. This is most likely what Esau suffered from, that caused him to come out more hairy than his brother. Excessive hair growth. And just to prove the point of what I've been telling you the whole time, it tells you what? Androgens promote thick, dark hair growth. Testosterone stimulates hair growth in the pubescent underarms. Obviously, he had it everywhere else, right? It tells you this testosterone stimulates beard hair growth and scalp hair loss. And then it says, like so many things, it comes down to a mixture of genetics and hormones. We know that at least some of the genes for hairiness are carried on the X chromosome. And the way these genes are expressed varies between different men and ethnic groups. But hairiness also correlates with high testosterone levels. Then you jump over here, you look at what an androgen is. It tells you male sex hormone. From andro, which is man or male. Thing that produces or causes. That's why he was like that. God made him like that. Now, what was the physical thing that happened for him to have higher testosterone levels to produce that? I don't know. But we see what's going on. We have enough evidence to see that he was hairy the way he was because he had a higher level of testosterone levels as a newborn baby. Now, let's go get the correlating scripture. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. 2 what? 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. 2 different nature of people and how they carry themselves and what they do. And the one people, which is Esau, shall be stronger. You see that? God hides stuff in his word. He told you that. God told you that he hides things in his word. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, But the honor of kings is to what? Is to search out a matter. This is exactly what we're doing. This is exactly what I have done. I've searched the matter out because God concealed it. And I have found what God has concealed. And there is what? There's honor in it. There's honor in it that nobody can take from me. Nobody can take this from me. You see that? And the one people, the Isaudi, the Arabs, shall be stronger than the other people. And the elder, the Esau eventually shall serve the younger. The one people shall be stronger than the other people. But God was going to flip it, just like he did. He said, I'm going to make you stronger, Jacob, than Esau's side of the family. And Psalm 139 is a very popular passage of scripture that speaks specifically about DNA. This is directly talking about DNA. God hid it in here. He concealed it. And it is our honor to search out these different things, search out these matters. My substance was not hid from thee when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect. And in thy book, in the DNA, because DNA is a book, right? That is literally a scroll. It's literally a scroll. And in thy book, all my what? My members were written, which in continuance were fashioned. So the book, the DNA opens up, and then the body, the baby, it grows and grows and grows and grows and continue fashion, right? When as yet there was none of them. So the instructions for a person to be a person are contained in the book of DNA. And once it's activated, once that electricity, once that light hits it, because they do this in the lab, they took that's how they do with in vitro. They take the sperm, they put it in the egg, they shock it with electricity. You can go look that up. How precious also are thy thoughts unto me, O God. How great is the sum of them. This is talking about DNA, y'all. He hid it. He concealed it. Just simply beautiful. So going back to this one more time. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. We're going to get some more evidence of this in a little bit. And to cap off the points that we've been making, you got ruddy. These are ruddy animals. But they tell you, no, that's not what it's talking about. Come on, man. They think we're stupid. Ruddy is brown. This is us right here. You got different shades of it. Different shades. Different shades of ruddy. Some of them dark, some of them lighter. Then we go to the famous what? The red heifer. You know the significance of this in the Bible? You see that? Look at it. That's a beautiful color. You see how rich it is? Is it glowing? The sheen on it? This is what he's talking about right here. This heifer looks healthy. Looks healthy. Doesn't look sick. Looks healthy. You see what I'm saying? The red heifer, the ruddy heifer. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. Then you go get the word. In regards to red, it is H122. You see Adam. It comes from H119. But you see it says red, ruddy. Also what? Lentils. Esau. You know what he did? You see it? What? Rosy, red, ruddy. So Adam, how you pronounce it?
Strong's H122. Adom.
So Adom comes from Adam.
Strong's H119. Adam.
Adam comes from Adam. You see that? Why? Because God put man over the beasts of the field. God put man over the beasts of the field. When man sinned, man fell below the cattle, because Satan was cursed below all the cattle, but he had that spiritual authority because of what happened with what Adam did. You see how God did that? And so when you go back and you look at the Saudi crown prince, you see what I'm talking about. This is a black man. This is a black man. He's just not that dark. You know, you got mixing in and stuff like that, because that's what the Arabs did. They mixed in. We're gonna see that a little bit later. Hopefully you're being edified by this. Hopefully everything is coming together for you, because you need to know this stuff in these last days, so y'all won't be deceived. This is a black man again, and also now y'all maybe it's starting to make more sense why I prophesied that the Antichrist will be what we call a black man, a man of color. I've always told you, I don't know how dark he's going to be. I don't know how dark he's going to be, but I'm prophesying that he is going to be what we call a so-called black man. Not white, but a so-called black man. And most likely, we can conclude, as you will see, from what we know, what we call the Middle East. Got some stuff coming for you on this guy right here. Some of you already know what he's up to. That city he's building in Saudi Arabia, or I should say, several cities he's building in Saudi Arabia. Why is that important? Because of what the word is going to tell you about Saudi Arabia. What do you think Mystery Babylon is? See, you've been taught it was America. I was taught that. The Lord corrected me on it. It is America, but it ain't. The spirit, in the sense of the spirit, yeah. America is a daughter of Mystery Babylon. But we talking about the Mystery Babylon, more like what we know as Saudi Arabia. And I'm going to prove it to you when it's all said and done. And you have to ask yourself a question. If that is the case and I can prove it, and you see it to be true according to the scriptures, then what does that mean for everybody else that keep on saying it's America, it's America, it's America, it's America, it's America? They're not saying it's the spirit of the mother is here, and America's the daughter, and she's running things right now, because the spirit of the mother is inside of her, running things. They're not saying that. They're saying it's America, and that's it. Well, that goes against what the word says. I've been showing y'all that if you watch the videos. Basra. Who is this that coming from Basra? Who is this coming from Edom? Who is this that have a sacrifice in Basra and Edom? Now, here's what I believe. I believe that these people, they know. They know who they are. They know where they descend from. Because they got the historical records. They studied this stuff. And they have tried to hide who they really are and what's really going on, which is why I call it a mystery, behind the term whiteness, behind the white race. We're going to put all the attention on them, so nobody really focusing on us and who we really are. This is why a lot of them, they marry so-called white women, or women that are that appear white, because they're so light they look white. Because if you have this light-skinned brother right here, and then he gets with a light-skinned, let's take this couple right here for example. Take this couple right here for example. Let's say this was the other guy, this guy right here, and then this is his wife. They married these women on purpose so they can birth children that are lighter. Why? To hide what's really going on. They want to hide what's really going on. So you're not really focused on them. You're not thinking, oh, they really is black, but they just married, they're light-skinned black dudes. They married somebody that was light to have lighter children. Because they really hate who they are. Because they hate God. So if we know that Christ is what we call a black man, then you want to get away from the image of Christ as much as you can by marrying lighter and lighter and lighter and having lighter and lighter children, which puts you further away from the true image, physical image of Christ in regards to him coming in the flesh, having skin of bronze. That's not really bronze. That's a lighter, extremely light version of what we would call bronze, but this ain't bronze. This ain't that deep, rich, brown, ruddy bronze color, is it? They hate Christ. That's why they do that. That's why they come in here and they do that. And that's what I believe. They're doing it purposely, causing the confusion. Everybody focus on everybody else while they do what they do, make their money, and continue to deceive the world as Mystery Babylon. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy. He was ruddy. You just saw the red heifer. You just saw the ruddy ducks. And we can go down a list of ruddy animals. So God made all these other animals ruddy, but when we're talking about the prophets and stuff, it's not what it's talking about. They're not brown, they're not what we call black. Even though you just saw that Adam came from Adam. And withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Because the Hebrews, they were good-looking brothers and sisters. They still are. And when the Philistines looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. See, they try to say, oh, fair, that means white, fair skin. It can mean that depending on the historical context, but it also could mean good-looking brother. My beloved is white and ruddy, the chiefest among 10,000. Oh, see, he was white, but it says he was ruddy. So if he was what we call white today and ruddy, what we know as ruddy, then that means he was mixed. If he was mixed, he still would be ruddy. Just common sense. All right, so we jump over to Genesis chapter 36. We're not going to read all this, but we're going to read some of it. Now, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. We know that, right? We've already broken down about Esau. Esau is what we call a black man. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibama, the daughter of Anai, the daughter of Sibion the Hivite, and Bashimath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nabajoth. Esau, who is quote unquote black, brown, a little bit more hairy, a little bit more manly, he took wives of the daughters of Canaan. So he married black women. Okay, let's say Esau is white. Esau still married black women. Esau still married black women. The children would have been mixed at the least. Ishmael comes from Abraham and Hagar. Hagar was an Egyptian. So if Abraham was white and Hagar we know is black because she's Egyptian, you can study that. You can go back into it, not just because she's Egyptian, but we know it gets deeper than that, man. Some of the stuff you got to study on your own. So if Abraham was white and then Hagar is black, they have a son named Ishmael who would be considered quote unquote mixed. Then he has a daughter. That daughter would be quote unquote look mixed on the blacker side, right? Darker side. And then Esau comes in and then he still married somebody that's what we consider black. But we know that Abraham was black. Hagar was what we call black. All these were black people. All these were black people, different shades. The Canaanites, they were a little bit more on the darker side. But it doesn't mean that you didn't have Canaanites that weren't some of our complexions, because we know that a lot of times we were mistaken for Egyptians. Then you go to verse 8, it says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Seir, how you pronounce it, Seir? Esau is Edom. Keep that in mind, because we're going to be looking at some maps. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. So it gives you the name of his sons and everything. Then you go to verse number 12. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. Amalek. Then you go down to verse 16. Duke Korah, Duke Gaddam, and Duke Amalek. Y'all always talking about the Amalekites? Now you seeing who they are. Modern day, what we call Arabs. Let's get this article. Got questions? They usually have some pretty good articles. Sometimes they be off, but most of the time they're pretty solid. Ishmael was a son of Abraham, born to Sarah's maidservant Hagar in the attempt to bring into the world the son God had promised to Abraham and Sarah. Later, Isaac was born to Abraham, and Sarah and Hagar and Ishmael were driven away because of Ishmael's attitude towards Isaac, but God still had plans for Ishmael. God promised Hagar that Ishmael, as a son of Abraham, would become a great nation. The fulfillment is recorded in Genesis 25, verses 12 through 18. Ishmael had 12 sons who became great rulers and eventually a nation of people. Ishmael? How many sons did he have? 12. Almost like 12 tribes. That came about in this way. Hagar was Egyptian herself, found a wife from Egypt for her son, and Ishmael settled in the desert of Paran. Ishmael's descendants settled in the area from Havilah to Shur, near the border of Egypt as you go toward Ashur. The Bible lists Ishmael's son. You see all the names right here. The area of Havilah where Ishmael's descendants live is in the northern part of the Arabian Peninsula. Shur is a wilderness area between Beersheba and the Negev Desert in Egypt. Isaiah 60 verse 7 mentions the descendants of Naboth and Kedar as those who raised flocks. The descendants of Ishmael became known as Arabs. So how did they get the complexion they are today? Because they were sleeping with different women and they mingled themselves. Esau and Ishmael, they mingled their seed to create what we know as Arabs. But let me tell you something. Some of you know this because I did a video on this exact same thing before about the Arabs. The Arabs today are considered the modern day Arabs. There was you had 3 different types of Arabs throughout history that I've been able to find. The modern Arabs are the Arabs you see today. Then you had some ones before that. Then you had the original Arabs. The original Arabs, they were black, and they were said to have come from the lineage of Canaan, Ham lineage. Because they like to mix stuff. It's about mingling things that are not supposed to be mingled. That's the root of Arab, mixing stuff, mingle. So again, it said the descendants of Ishmael became known as Arabs, which basically means nomads. The Bible tells us that. From the beginning, the descendants of Ishmael were a warlike people. What did God tell you? Esau was stronger people, and what did Esau do? He mingled his seed with Ishmael's seed. Esau was already strong, naturally strong because of his naturally high levels of testosterone. He was just like that. Different type of person. But now you mingle that with Ishmael's seed, and what type of people do you have? From the beginning, the descendants of Ishmael were a warlike people as they lived in hostility toward all the tribes related to them. They fight amongst their own people. Isn't the same thing going on today? But y'all look at the Arabs and say, oh, no, they're not black. Those folks are black. God is saying that they are black. They were originally black. They're just different shades of black today. This fulfilled God's earlier word that Ishmael would be a wild donkey of a man. His hand would be against everyone and everyone's hand against him. And he will live in hostility towards all his brothers. Exact same thing going on today. Later, others settled in the Arabian Peninsula as well, including the descendants of Keturah's sons and some of Esau's descendants, among them the Amalekites. And then they tell you there's a popular theory common among Muslims and some Christians that Arabian Muslims are direct descendants of Ishmael. In fact, Muhammad was a major proponent of this idea, claiming to be a descendant of Ishmael according to the Quran. There's most likely some truth in this theory. So, it talks about that, and, it is true. Muhammad traces his lineage back to Ishmael. Now you see where all this drama is coming from. Let's bring in some more pieces to the puzzle. Wilderness of Shur, territory of the Ishmaelites and Amalekites. It give you the scripture, and this is where they settled at. This is where they settled at right here. Amalek is living in the Negev. You just saw that. Negev right here. All this area. Don't this look familiar? This is Saudi Arabia. This is Saudi Arabia. There's a prince, crown prince, that's over Saudi Arabia today, doing some crazy thing with what he has envisioned. Here goes the map again. Modern day Saudi Arabia, Arab nations, all these Arab nations. You got Dubai up in here. Yeah, you go Dubai right there. You know how Dubai is built up. You got Iran. Come on, Iraq, Jordan. You got Israel right there. But Saudi Arabia was the land of the Edomites. Why is that important? It's important for a lot of reasons. Also, what's in Saudi Arabia? Mecca. Mecca, the greatest idol that the world knows. The greatest idolatry the world knows. Walk around and kiss it. And then the thing looked like a vagina. Here's a picture of it. And people kiss this. Billions of people kiss this stone that they say fell from heaven. Oh. Ain't there a scripture to talk about that? Ashtaroth.
Why do Muslims kiss this black stone on the eastern corner of Kaaba? Some people think they do this as a worship, but it is not that. According to Muslim belief, black stone is a relic from paradise, and that it was given to Prophet Ibrahim by the angel Gabriel. It is believed that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, kissed the black stone during his own Hajj pilgrimage, and that is why Muslims kiss as a respect. The act of kissing the black stone is seen as a way to show reverence and respect for the sacred site, and to demonstrate one's submission to Allah. Muslims do not.
Look at him. Look. This is the greatest idol worship ever. And look at all these people of color. All these black people. Look at all these black people fighting to get a piece. This is the greatest idol the world has ever seen so far.
Worship this black store. Instead, they do this out of respect. Worshipping any idol is prohibited in Islam.
But they do it though. Like, this is crazy.
Secrets of Mecca, which you've never heard before, part 2. This is the Kaaba, and in this corner is the Hajar Aswad, also known as the Black Stone. The Hajar Aswad is a stone from Jannah, but what we didn't know is that the Hajar Aswad was stolen in the year 930 by the Qaramita. When they stole the black stone, it was in one piece, but after 22 years, they returned the black stone, but they broke it into 7 different pieces. So this whole thing isn't the black stone. Rather, the 7 stones are being held in place by this black molding. Now the question is, how did the Muslims know that the 7 stones being returned was the real and actual Hajar Aswad? The answer to that question will be in the next video.
So it's 7 stones being held together by that one black molding. So the black molding that they're kissing ain't even really the 7 stones. The 7 stones are in here, behind it.
نعمة فمن الله ثم إذا مسكم بلوكم الله به وليبينن لكم يوم القيامة ما كنتم تعملون فإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان على الذين آمنوا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون الكفر صدرا فعليهم غضب من الله ولهم عذاب عظيم ولا تقولوا لما تصف ألسنتكم الكذب هذا حلال.
Now, I'm not going to get into all the details in this video with some of the things that the Crown Prince Saudi is doing. I mentioned it years ago, and y'all can do the research for yourself. But one thing he is building, he has planned, is this city that is going to have a gigantic, when I say gigantic Kaaba stone replica. Let that sink in Saudi Arabia. And just so you can see that scripture, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. So who named Ishmael Ishmael? God did. And he will be what? A wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of what? Of all his brethren. Seem like that's what he's doing, dwelling in the presence of all his brethren. White people, Hebrew Israelites, or I should say, Japheth's lineage, Israelite lineage, his own people's lineage. Then we jump over here, it says, Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by the names according to the generations, the firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, we saw them right, and Kedar, and the rest of them. Now some of you've seen the video we did before this, and this is what we're getting to right here. Kedar, and it is H6938, and it literally means dark. These were black people. They tell you, no, it wasn't. Yeah, we know about the tents. But it also ties in with their physical skin complexion. Black-skinned man of a son of Ishmael and of an Arabian tribe sprung from him. Then you go down here, it says, the rabbins, or the rabbis, call all the Arabians universally by this name. All of them by this name. So they call them all the Arabians black skin, dark people, black people. If the sons of Ishmael were black, then that means that Ishmael was most likely black. If Ishmael was black, that means that his mama and daddy was most likely black. But we know the truth about all of them, don't we? No reason to lie. Yet there's reason for other people to lie. I wonder why. And just to give you a quick little history lesson, one of the children, they were called Nebajoth. The Nebajoth gave way to who we know as the Nabateans. They said the Nabateans were an ancient Arab people who inhabited where? Northern Arabia and the southern Levant. They emerged as a distinct civilization and political entity between the 4th and 2nd centuries BCE, with their kingdom centered around a loosely controlled trading network that brought considerable wealth and influence across the ancient world. The Nabateans were exceptionally skilled traders, facilitating commerce between China, India, the Far East, Egypt, Syria, Greece, and Rome. They dealt in such goods as spices, incense, gold, animals, iron, copper, sugar, medicines, ivory, perfumes, and fabrics, just name a few. Petra, the assumed capital of Rakhmu, was a wealthy commercial crossroad between the Arabian, Assyrian, Egyptian, Greek, and Roman cultures. The Nabateans spoke a dialect of Arabic and later adopted Aramaic, and then we know ultimately adopted English, as we all have. They were governed by a royal family, although a strong spirit of democracy prevailed, and there were no slaves in Nabatean society. Nabateans resisted military conquest, but the Hellenistic culture of the neighbors influenced them greatly. The Nabateans appear in the Hebrew Bible as the tribe descended from Nebajoth, which is what you saw, the first son of Ishmael, himself the son of Abraham and Hagar. Now this is supposed to be a picture of some Nabateans. Black. What we call black, they're dark-skinned people, black-skinned people. Doesn't mean they come in specifically from the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob, but they still what we call black people. The black-skinned people, the black-skinned man. And here's another picture of some ancient Nabateans. I think this is when they were going to a wedding, if I remember correctly. Look at that. Look at the hair. Black skin. He's a little bit lighter. You see that? No, this ain't in the Middle East. So it's in where? It's in Europe. Oh, so you got black people in Europe. Oh, so it's in America. So you got black people in America too? That's what you saying? Cause you trying to say this ain't them. Somebody trying to say that. Well, how do we know that this is over in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Israel? But either way you did in the water, because you said we weren't in Europe. You say we weren't here. You say we weren't there. So where were we? Let's go back to the scriptures. The burden of the desert of the sea, as whirlwinds in the south pass through, so it cometh from the desert, from a terrible land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media. All the sign thereof have I made to cease. Therefore are my loins filled with pain. Pangs have taken hold of me, upon me, as the pangs of a woman that travaileth. I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it. What is he talking about? What is going on? You ready for it? My heart panted. Fearfulness affrighted me. The night of my pleasure hath he turned to fear unto me. Prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, arise, ye princes, and anoint the shield. For thus hath the Lord said unto me, Go set a watchman, and let him declare what he seeth. Go set the watchman, tell you what you see, right? And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen, a chariot of asses, and a chariot of camels, and he hearkened diligently with much heed. And he cried, A lion, my Lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. And behold, here cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, so here he comes and talk to him. He's like, go in the tower and tell me what you see. I see these chariots, I see these men, they come this way, and they finally come, and then what do they say? And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and all the what? The graven images of her gods he had broken unto the ground. So the context of Isaiah 21 is the fall of Babylon. That's the same thing that's mentioned where? In the book of Revelation. But wait, there's more. You see, I stopped in verse 9. Because this is what I'm finna show you. People been lying to you. Now, it's one thing you've been saying some things in ignorance or whatever. You got grace, or you just didn't know. You know, being ignorant. Because we can say things in ignorance and not knowing, God will be gracious upon us. But what about all these people that claiming they know, and they're saying God showed them? No, I'm telling you that God showed me. I'm showing you in the scriptures. I've already proven everything I've proven to you. I didn't lie about nothing. I didn't manipulate nothing. I took it point by point by point by point by point by point. Did I or did I not do that? So now I'm going to show you about Mystery Babylon. You see the context is talking about Babylon. Remember, prophecy, past, present, future. Again, past, present, future. Of course, he's talking about the destruction of Babylon in the past, but we know Babylon's going to be destroyed in the future. Mystery Babylon, right? It's not a mystery anymore.
Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon, and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God of the Lord of hosts. Though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel, flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his devices against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple.
So he talking about using the Medes. We've seen that scripture before. The Medes coming in. Who are the Medes? The Medes is modern-day Iran. The Medes is modern-day Iran. And that's right there where Mystery Babylon is, Saudi Arabia.
Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill thee with men, as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. He hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth the vapours to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms.
Jacob, Israel, is what? We are his battle axe and weapons of war. So y'all don't believe in the Bible. Y'all don't believe in the Bible. You can't. You can't, because he's telling you what we are.
And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroyest all the earth. And I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate for ever, saith the Lord. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minai, Ashkenaz, appoint a captain
Call the Gentiles. Call all of them.
against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars, Prepare against other nations with the kings of the Medes, the
There you go again, the Medes again, Iran.
captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight, they have remained in their holds, their might hath failed. They became as women, they have burned her dwelling places, her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end, and that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted.
All right, so we know it's talking about the ancient kingdom of Babylon being destroyed, but it's also speaking about mystery Babylon that will be destroyed. You go to verse 37, and it says, And Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, and astonishment, and hissing without an inhabitant. Verse 48, Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon, for the spoiler shall come unto her from the north, saith the Lord. Then we jump over here to look at it a little bit deeper. Jeremiah 51 verse 4. We're going to look at Chaldeans. And it is H3778. It means clod breakers. But what we want to do is we want to go right here. Tells you it's coming from here. H3777. The Castites, which is Kesed, the Chesed, how you say it? Which means increase, and it tells you what? The fourth son of Nahor, the nephew of Abraham. Nephew of Abraham. Family. Like I told you, it's family. Which is why we have similarities amongst us. Now we go over here. This is an ancient map. And once again, you see the same area. This is the ancient Babylonian Empire. Same area, right? Even parts of what we call Saudi Arabia. Even parts of Saudi Arabia. Then we bring in another witness, Isaiah 13.
Isaiah 13. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness.
Now remember he said that we are his battle axe and his weapons of war? We are going to fight with him when he does this. Because this deals with the day of the Lord, the day of vengeance. We are not appointed to his wrath. We are appointed to fight with him just like we're fighting with him now. But we got to get our new glorified bodies. That's the purpose of the catching away.
The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together, the Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another, their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger.
Both with what? With wrath and fierce anger. Revelation 6. Right? The sixth seal. Wrath of the Lamb has come, and who shall hide us? Who shall save us? Nobody's going to be able to save them. They won't be able to hide. They're going to hide in the rocks and stuff, but they ain't going to be able to hide for real. And you see in verse number 10 that he said, for the stars of heaven and the constellations, same thing we see in the book of Revelation.
To lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land.
Flee into his own land. We just read that.
Land. Every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which...
Behold, I will what? I will stir up the Medes, modern day, we know as Iran, against them. Same thing we just read, dealing with what? Babylon. This is Iran.
Shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children.
Verse 19.
And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
This is how we know this is a future prophecy also, because the wrath of Christ has not come yet. That hasn't happened yet.
It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there.
He tells you specifically, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there. And somehow people take this to mean this is talking about Arabs over here in America. Like, really? They don't even fit. Oh, it's talking about the Arabs, because the Arabs come over here, they make money, they're selling the oil to Mystery Babylon, America, man. Like, oh my God. Like, come on, man. It's called humble yourself. Humble yourself. If you humble yourself, you repent, and people walk away from you because they're like, man, you lied, then they weren't truly legit in the first place. Because if you truly sorry, and you tell people you're sorry, that you spoke in ignorance, and they don't respect that, then guess what? To hell with them. So it's talking about Saudi Arabia, man. This ain't talking about America.
Neither shall the shepherds make their fold there.
Remember, the Arabs, they are a nomadic people. And then verse 21, but what? The wild beasts and the dragons and everything? Let's read it.
But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged.
Dragons in their pleasant palaces. Is there palaces over here in America like that? Or are there palaces in Saudi Arabia with these kings and these Arab people? Especially Saudi Arabia. They got palaces, man. He said dragons going to dwell there, and we just read that in Jeremiah 51. Now we got to get it in the book of Revelation. Now here you finna see the direct connection. Some of you already see it. It's saying the same thing in Babylon. The great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. A future prophecy. This ain't talking about America, man. It's talking about Saudi Arabia. If y'all can't see that, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna give you more proof. I'm gonna give you more proof.
Revelation 18. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit.
The habitation of what? Devils, dragons. You see that?
and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
And the reason for that is he's going to literally turn it into hell. Remember, I told you when the people are coming up to Jerusalem, they're going to walk by and they're going to see it. They're going to literally see it. Why? Because Saudi Arabia is right there. It's all going to be burning and everything. They're literally going to see hell. There's not going to be a excuse. And what I believe is that's going to be one of the main gates to hell. And also, like I told you, I believe when people come up, that the people they see in hell will be people that they knew. It won't just be random people. Whoever you saw, I mean, the people during that time period, but whoever you knew. Let's say you go through the time of Jacob trouble and you survive, and then when you're coming up to Jerusalem to worship, whoever you knew, you will see them in hell crying out to you. So there won't be no excuse.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven.
The merchants of the earth have gotten rich through the Arabs. They have gotten rich through the Arabs, man. Did you forget about oil? Oil runs the world right now. Oil is what's backing the US dollar. Who runs the oil industry? The Arabs.
Saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously.
Do y'all not see how the Arabs live? Some of you know how them Arabs, they got vending machines to get gold out of it. People in America don't even have that. Some of the richest people in America don't get no gold out of no vending machine. Them folk getting gold out of vending machines. Like, come on, man. The wealth they got don't compare to the wealth that people got in America, even some of the richest people in America. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, he has at least a $700 billion account. $700 billion. And these cities that he's building over in Saudi Arabia, these are multi-billion-dollar cities he's building. We talking about stuff that the world ain't never seen before he talking about doing.
So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning.
You see that? He gonna turn Saudi Arabia into he gonna obliterate it. Obliterate it.
Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet, and all Thyan wood, and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon, and odours and ointments and frankincense, and wine and oil and fine flour, and wheat and beasts, and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men.
Souls of men. That's that deep right there. But what did it tell you, slaves? We did a video. They took it down, but remember the slave trade they were showing you over there was happening where? In the Arab countries that was still going on. They had slave trades still going on, active slave trades over there in the Arabic countries, man.
and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Now, it's giving you a prophecy about how the city's going to look, but who be wearing that fine linen when they wear their, I forgot what it's called, but you don't know what I'm talking about. They wear fine linen, man. They wear the best clothes. We ain't wearing no fine linen over here. We wearing mixed fabrics and some bull jive, GMO cotton.
For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster, and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate.
Remember, I was telling you that when Christ is ruling and reigning from Jerusalem, the people will come up to Jerusalem to worship. Here goes the scripture right here. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, yes, he's going to establish the Old Testament law. It's going to be kept perfectly, physically in this world. And from one Sabbath to another shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. What do you say? So they come up to Jerusalem, right? Because we know he's going to be located in Jerusalem. He's going to build first and foremost in Jerusalem. So when they're coming up there, what? And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, the people in hell. Neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. So they're going to see the people in hell burning. It's not going to be based on faith. Oh, I believe there's a hell. I don't believe. People are going to know because they're going to see it. Mark chapter 9, where their worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched. And if thy foot offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be cast into hell, into the fire that shall never be quenched. Go back up. Neither shall their fire be quenched. It's talking about hell, y'all. Why are they preaching this to you? Why aren't they showing this to you? Where their worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched. And if thy eye offend thee, pluck it out. It is better for thee to enter into the kingdom of God with 1 eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell fire, where their worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched. For everyone shall be salted with fire, and every sacrifice shall be salted with salt. Pretty much meaning what you've done on this earth is going to be intensified. So all the sin you've done is going to be intensified in hell. Then you go to the book of Revelation. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, where? In the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So they got to watch all this. They got to watch it as Christ is pouring out his love upon the world, and they see him recreating everything. They have to watch it, and that's torment. They're going to be tormented. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. This serious stuff, y'all. Serious stuff. Now we jump over to the book of Isaiah. He says, And the Lord shall smite Egypt, he shall smite and heal it, and they shall return even to the Lord, and he shall be entreated of them, and shall heal them. In that day shall there be a highway out of Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians shall come into Egypt, and the Egyptians into Assyria, and the Egyptians shall serve with the Assyrians. In that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt, and with Assyria, even a blessing in the midst of the land. So they're going to go up through that highway, going straight to Jerusalem to worship. And they're going to see the people burning in hell. Now we jump over here. We look at this place called Dumat al Jandal, however you pronounce it. It tells you it is an ancient city of ruins and historical capital of Al Jaf province, which is northwestern Saudi Arabia. Northwestern what? Saudi Arabia. So it literally means Duma of the stone. The name Al Jaf means depression. All right, so we got that. You see that, right? Here's the map. Duma al Jandal. Right there. Right there. Why is all this important? Well, it's the same area. Saudi Arabia. Keep that in mind also. There go your Mecca right there. Keep that in mind. So is Duma even in the Bible? Yes, it is. Duma means silence. Son of Ishmael, and most probably the founder of the Ishmaelite tribe of Arabia. You see the connection? Let's go back to the map. Ishmael, Ishmaelites, Edom. Ishmael mingled his seed with Edomites, and even the Edomite kingdom was up in here, remember? So it tells you it's also this a town in the mountainous district of Judah near Hebron, but it's also a mystical name of Edom indicating death and ruin. Go down here. Silence. Place of silence. Watch this. Use of Hades. Use of hell. So there are scriptures where it's referencing this place as a place of hell. As a place of hell. Right there. Up in what we know as Israel. A place of hell. Because remember, we just read, he said he's going to turn into what? He said he's going to turn this into hell. He's going to burn to the ground. And the people are going to be in there where the worm dieth not, and the fire is never quenched. He put these names here for a reason so you know. And if you look, you will find the mysteries that he has hidden. Let you know this is what I'm going to do. And I make sure these places are named that for future prophecy to be fulfilled. Psalms 94:17. Unless the Lord had been my help, my soul had almost dwelt in silence. In what? In death and destruction, in hell. Remember what he's saying, right? Place of silence. Poetically used of Hades, of hell. Silence. A mystic name of Edom indicating death and ruin. Unless the Lord had been my help, my soul had almost dwelt in death and ruin. You go down, you see it's the same word, Duma. In silence, Duma. Psalms 115, verse 17. The dead praise not the Lord, neither any that go down into silence, any that go down into hell. Now what about Amalek? Because Amalek was mentioned with the what we know as the Arabs, right? Because Ishmael and Esau mingled their seed. And the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. If I said that wrong, I apologize. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with who? With Amalek from generation to generation. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and ye shall fall by the sword, because ye are turned away from the Lord. Therefore the Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up unto the hilltop. Nevertheless the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses departed not out of the camp. Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites which dwelt in that hill, and smote them, and discomfited them, even unto Hormah. Now, I wanted to bring this up, not only because it mentions the Amalekites, but if these are the people over there in the land, they have turned away from the Lord. Nobody's going to disagree with that and say they haven't turned away from the Lord. The Lord said that they would not be able to defeat their enemies if they are in disobedience. So even if God has brought them back into the land, how have they been able to win all these wars if they have been in disobedience? They have turned away from God. Yeah. I told you what we do around here is we expose lies and liars. We're being led by the Spirit. We're being led by the Spirit, not the flesh. Because ye are turned away from the Lord. He said, you're going to fall by the sword. And that's what happened. Because the Lord was not going to be with them. Again, if those are the people in the land, how have they been able to win all these wars when they have turned away from the Lord? Because they're not the people. And everybody knows that, except the people that don't want to accept it. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy God hath given thee rest from all thine enemies round about in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. If we're going to say some of the people in the land, then okay, let's go with that. That thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven, thou shalt not forget it. When they are at rest from all their enemies, they're going to blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. But they aren't at rest from all their enemies. They're supposed to be fighting Amalek, the Arabs and some of these other people, because Amalek comes from the lineage of the Arabs. They aren't the people, y'all. They aren't the people. They're going to pay a heavy price. Watch. That's what I tell you. And the crazy thing is, the Temple Mount that people are fighting over there, the Dome on the Rock, and then you have the Wailing Wall, which is not even the Wailing Wall. It's Fort Antonia. The mount, the spot they're talking about isn't even right there. It's a few miles down the street. And I believe that's where the two witnesses are going to set up preaching. Not where the Dome on the Rock is, but where the real spot where the temple was. That Wailing Wall, they call it, it's Fort Antonia. Christ said that Jerusalem was going to be leveled, the temple was going to be leveled. He said you wouldn't even going to know what was there. And when you go look at the historical records, if you didn't know where the spot was, they said if you didn't know where the spot was and you went there, you wouldn't even know nothing was ever there. Because they dug down into the ground and took all the stones because they wanted the gold. It was covered in gold. They don't tell you all that though, do they? I wonder why. We got a sermon on that if you want to check it out. Keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Now, the Arabs are over there fighting them because they know they're not the people, but they don't even want anything. They don't want no Israel. They don't want us over there, nothing. They want it all for themselves so they can name it what they want to. So people won't even think about the name of Israel. Because you think about the name of Israel, then you have no choice but to see who the real people are. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. It's interesting, the first two he names is Edom and the Ishmaelites. The first two. And of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre or Tyre. Ashur also are joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. A lot of this is family, man. A lot of this is direct family, especially Ashur. We know about Lot, children of Lot. All of them coming against Israel, and then you got your own people inside of Israel coming against you. Now let's make this next connection with Ezekiel 35.
Ezekiel 35. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end.
The problem wasn't slavery. The problem wasn't our punishment. because God allowed that. The issue was what they did while we was in captivity, while we was in slavery, how they treated us. You still supposed to treat slaves a certain way. And then it was like it was ending, and okay, we finna crank it up on you, because we really don't want you to be free. Going back to Psalms 83.
Therefore as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, in thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord.
You're going to do what? Make the perpetual desolations. It's going to continue to be the way it is, meaning, talking about, turning into hell and stuff.
Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee.
Now, going back to verse number 10, isn't this the same thing the Arabs are saying today? It's ours. It's all ours. We want it. We're going to take it. Because I said these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there.
And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, They are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus saith the Lord God, When the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord.
Okay, so we see the context. Mount Seir, and all what? Idumea. Idumean, in reference to the biblical Edom, from Latin Idumea, which is Edom. Edom, the land, all of Edom, O Mount Seir, and all of Edom, all the Edomites, ones that don't repent, which are going to be most of them, and to be real, what? Most of the world. And here you have it on the map, Idumea, you got Samaria, Judea, Idumea, you got another one, Kingdom of Edom, you have Bosra right here, keep that in mind. Nabateans right there, coming up in what? In Saudi Arabia. All that's, part of that. Mount Seir, Edom and Esau. Mount Seir is located in Edom. It is a region southeast of the Salt Sea. Now it's part of what? Now it is a part of Saudi Arabia. Now it's a part of what? Saudi Arabia. Come on, man. And here go another map just for reference. Right up in here, right? So you may be saying, well, Jordan is right there. Jordan is right there. What's going on? I thought it was part of Saudi Arabia. Because Edom would have been right here. Right there, right up in there, right? That look like it's in Jordan's territory. Where is Mount Seir located? Mount Seir is believed to be to the northeast of the Gulf of Aqaba in the land that was known as Edom. Now remember, these maps we're looking at, they're rough estimates. It's not like you're there and you can just draw it out. This would include what? Modern day Jordan and parts of northern Saudi Arabia, which is exactly what you see, because Edom was right here. Modern day Jordan and Saudi Arabia. That's exactly what we see. Jordan would be right here, and then you got parts of Saudi Arabia. All right. Hopefully this has been edifying for you. Hopefully it is, just gave you so much insight to what's really going on. Now, we got to get Obadiah. We've seen the maps. We've seen the people, right? Let's get Obadiah.
The book of Obadiah. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised.
Are not the Arabs greatly despised? Are not the Arab nations greatly despised among the heathens?
The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape-gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
For thy what? Thy violence against thy brother Jacob. Again, if you believe in that Esau is a white man, then Esau is your direct brother, because they were twins. Which one is it?
In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them.
It's talking about when Jerusalem was destroyed, for those who don't know.
But thou shouldst not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldst thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldst thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldst not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldst not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldst thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldst thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head.
Verse 15, for the day of the Lord, we know what this is. Day of vengeance. Daniel's 70th week. Time of Jacob's trouble.
For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them, and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it.
When all this goes down, ain't gonna be none of them left. Ain't gonna be no such thing as Arabs anymore.
They of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And Saviours shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's.
And saviors, that's, his army, those of us who believe, coming back with Christ. But I want to go back to verse 20. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites. Israel is going back into captivity again. Rather, it is the people over in the land or the people who we know as the people. They keep on telling you that this is our final captivity. No, this is the church's final captivity, the bride of Christ's final captivity, which includes Jews, physical Jews. He said, even unto Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is where? In Sepharad. So they got to come out of captivity. And this is going to happen after all this destruction comes and Christ is going to establish his kingdom here on earth. Now remember, Mount Seir, Edom, and Esau. Now part of Saudi Arabia, we saw that, right? You got also Jordan up in there, part of Jordan. Has it mentioned anything about America? Has it mentioned anything about America? Or is it talking about what we know as the Middle East area? Africa. Let's bring it all together. Because he's talking about what? The day of the Lord, the time of Jacob's trouble, when he's going to pour out his vengeance, right? Let's bring it all together. Isaiah 34.
Isaiah 34. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter.
Okay, you got the context, just in case. You see the context.
Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountain shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree.
Revelation 6, remember? Revelation 6, the sixth seal. Heaven is rolled together as a scroll. Why? Because Christ come to bring the judgment upon the world. Come to bring the vengeance of the Father.
For my sword shall be bathed in heaven.
It's going to be bathed in heaven because remember there's war in heaven first, and then the angels Satan and his angels are kicked down. They have but a short time. Remember that? Michael and his angels, they fought. So the war taking places on different fronts. Then it's going to also take place on this earth. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, behold, it shall come down upon where? Upon America. No, Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So not only the Edomites, but also his own people. Which is why he said judgment to the Jew first and then to the Gentile. The reason that he didn't say judgment to the Jew first, the Edomites, and the Gentiles, because the Edomites is family. The Edomites is family. Of course, they're not Jews, but they are still family, coming from Abraham's lineage. That's why.
Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea.
He's sitting there telling you exactly where it's going down there. He didn't say nothing about no America, man. He's sitting there telling you in Bozrah, and in the land of Idumea, in the land of the Edomites. Not America. Stop trying to force it to fit. Because you keep on saying the Edomites are the white man. Then let's keep on going. Keep on going. It's going to prove it even more.
And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's
Just
vengeance,
because you didn't get it.
and the year of recompenses, for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day, the smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever.
There you have it. The same thing we just read. He talking about the land of Basra, the land of the Edomites. It's going to be turned into hell. He going to destroy it. He going to bring it down with fire and brimstone. We just read that. That ain't talking about America, man. I'm not saying that America ain't going to be destroyed. But we talking about Mystery Babylon, Saudi Arabia.
But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion, and the stones of emptiness.
What did he tell you about Mystery Babylon? Is going to be a habitation for every unclean bird and every foul spirit. The owl, unclean bird, foul spirit.
They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there. And all her princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof. And it shall be an habitation of dragons, and a court for owls.
It shall be a habitation for dragons, for devils. The same thing we read. Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. Mystery Babylon, Saudi Arabia, land of the Edomites, land of the Arabs. And most Arabs are what? They are Muslim. What I believe is going to happen is that is the same thing that happened with Nebuchadnezzar. They're going to allow them to worship all these other gods because they're on the same team. But at a particular point in time, they have to bow down and pay homage to the supreme God. Islam is the religion that does that. At a certain time, they stop everything they're doing. They turn and they pray to the idol, to their God. That's the same thing that happened with Nebuchadnezzar. There's nothing new under the sun. History repeats itself. Just like when the second temple was destroyed, how was it destroyed? They destroyed the second temple the same way they destroyed the first temple. The same way. They surrounded it and they starved them out. They did the same thing with the second temple. They surrounded it and they starved them out, which was a fulfillment of Bible prophecy of them eating. They were eating leather and they were eating their children and stuff like that, eating each other. Cannibalism. That's what God said was going to happen.
The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest, and lay, and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them.
He telling you it's going to happen according to how he said it. Not America. It's going to happen where he says it's going to happen at. The land of the Edomites and Basra. Saudi Arabia. Also, we see it was part of Jordan. Again, this is just a rough map, but you get the point, because this is where it's at. Basra, right there, up in Jordan. He mentioned Teman, however you want to say it. Also mentioned Dedan. Saudi Arabia. So mostly Saudi Arabia, but also is part of Jordan. God ain't studying it. He ain't studying if it's Jordan. He ain't studying in Saudi Arabia. Where he said it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Simple as that. Now let's bring it full circle. Full circle so there's no confusion. If you confused at this, you need to watch the video again Or maybe it's just meant for you to be confused because you don't really want to know the truth.
Isaiah 63. Who is this that cometh from Edom, with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, travelling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine vat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment.
Verse 4.
For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury, it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. I will mention the loving kindnesses of the Lord, and the praises of the Lord, according to all that the Lord hath bestowed on us, and the great goodness toward the house of Israel, which he hath bestowed on them according to his mercies, and according to the multitude of his loving kindnesses. For he said, Surely they are my people, children that will not lie, so he was their Saviour. In all their affliction he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his pity he redeemed them, and he bare them, and carried them all the days of old. But they rebelled, and vexed his Holy Spirit. Therefore he was turned to be their enemy, and he fought against them.
All right, you see that? He had a sacrifice where? Who is it coming from Edom, with dyed garments from Bozrah? Who is it coming from Edom, from the land of the Edomites? Now is a part of Saudi Arabia, and you also got a part of Jordan. So you want to make an argument and say that Jordan is Mystery Babylon? You can make an argument. You can say that. Or you can say it's Jordan and Saudi Arabia. But we know mostly Saudi Arabia. Who is it that coming from Basra? Let me go back. Who is it that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? Who is it that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? How'd you get your garments stained up in Basra? What were you doing? Destroying all his enemies. Destroying all his enemies, all the Arabs, and everybody else. They say if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another's man, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith the Lord. Lift up thine eyes unto the high places, and see where thou hast not been lean with. In the ways hast thou sat for them, as the Arabian in the wilderness. He's saying the stuff you've been doing, you've been acting like the Arabian in the wilderness. You've been acting like a whore. You've been acting like the harlot. And thou hast polluted the land with thy whoredoms and with thy wickedness, just like the Arabians do in the wilderness. Marrying women, but really sleeping with boys for pleasure. We go to that same scripture. We go back over to Isaiah 13:20, and we're going to be looking at the word Arabian. You see it's H6163. I want you to notice something. What did it tell you? Arabian. See Arabia. Mixed. An inhabitant of Arabia. Steep dweller. Mixed. Mixed. That's what it means. They always mixing something. That's the same thing Muhammad did. He mixed those gods that were already there. I think it was like 365 gods that was there. He took their beliefs and mixed it with what his father Abraham had taught him to come up with Islam. That's what he did. You have the same thing going on today with people mixing the holy with the profane. Now you're starting to get a better understanding of this final kingdom they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Not the Arabs, they are already mixed. But the fallen angels, the demons and stuff like that, they're going to show up, and then they're going to mix themselves with the seed of men also. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, 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 crazy. And then we go over here, get ready to close it out. Arab, one of the native people of Arabia and surrounding regions. Then it tells you indigenous name of the people, perhaps literally inhabitant of the desert, and related to the Hebrew Arabah, which is desert, people of the desert, mixed people of the desert. We come over here and we look at this map from one last time. Remember that place? Same area, y'all. Same area. Saudi Arabia. This is where it's going down at. This is where Mystery Babylon is at. This is Mystery Babylon right here. This is Mystery Babylon. I don't know which sermon it's going to be, but one of these sermons I want to work on, and I'm going to show you some of the things that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is up to. With that being said, God bless each and every one of you in Jesus Christ's name. As always, stay focused for Jesus. And as you know, the truth is not debated, it is declared. I think we have exposed some people. The thing is, will they continue to lie? That's the question. Because if God has given me the revelation and God has shown you for this to be true, then why isn't he doing the same thing for them?